Happy Friday! Welcome to another episode of Lombardi Time Brews. Today I'm going to dive right in. It's a Friday. Let's get the frack out of here. So, first I'm going to give you details on how you can enter our very first Lombardi Time Brews giveaway. And then after that, I'm going to be diving into 53 facts about the 53-man roster. Just me going through every single name and pulling out something interesting about everybody on the 53-man roster for the Green Bay Packers. But first, like I said, we are going to be diving into the giveaway details. So, like I explained a little bit about yesterday, next week, for the first time, we are going to be doing a mailbag. This is where listeners send in questions, and I do an episode just answering the questions. So coming up, I do believe it's going to be Thursday of next week, depending on how news breaks and everything like that. Next Thursday, I'm going to be doing the first ever Lombardi Time Brews mailbag. And I thought, since we are brand new and still getting our name out there and the channel is growing, that we should do a giveaway for our listeners, for people who are aiming to contribute to the mailbag. So I have 4 things here. All of them are going to go together in one giveaway prize. How do you get said prize? It's actually pretty easy. Follow me on Twitter at JONDELRAY, just at John Delray, that's my name. Follow me on Twitter. DM me with a question on Twitter. And if that question is chosen to be a part of the episode, you are then entered into a random drawing with the other chosen questions for one lucky person to get this collectibles giveaway. That's really it. Follow me on Twitter, okay? DM me a question, and then I'm going to put out a post about the giveaway. Share that post once. That's it. That's it. Do that, and you are eligible for the giveaway. So I'm going to dive in now to what the items are. And I chose one thing from each era dating from the 1960s Lombardi Packers all the way to current. 3 NFL Hall of Fame autographs and a little something from a current player. So diving right in here, the very first thing I'm going to show you is for the current player. Again, follow me on Twitter at John Delray. Submit a question, and all of this could be yours if that question is chosen and you share the tweet. So, item number 1, and it's only out of a top loader so that I could actually show you without reflections, but here it is, a rookie card select, A.J. Dillon. Rookie card select, A.J. Dillon. He's got the patch there, player worn, napkin swatch, as they call it, but rookie card select, A.J. Dillon. It's shiny. It is shiny. Moving on our way back through history, here we have a LeRoy Butler signed card. Now, this was not a manufactured auto. It's not one that was pack pulled. This is one that came after time, but this is a LeRoy Butler autograph. Brand new NFL Hall of Famer LeRoy Butler. Moving on from there, someone who's been in the Hall of Fame a little bit longer. How about this one on an old Topps card? James Lofton, 2003 Hall of Fame. Topps James Lofton autograph. Another NFL Hall of Famer. So pretty, putting on there the Hall of Fame 2003. Hall of Fame 2003. And then he also put 2022 for the year that he signed it. Something he does with great frequency. So there is James Lofton autograph. And then the last one, the photo, Willie Davis. So this one comes with the Waukesha Spark Cards COA. Absolutely one of the best in the business. But here you have an 8x10 photo. Willie Davis, one of the absolute all-time greats. NFL Hall of Fame, Packer Hall of Fame, Lombardi legend. Willie Davis, 8x10 photo. So again, all of this could be yours. All 4 items are going to the same person. And let's just take one more look at that photo. Look at that. Look at it. So, each one of these could be going to anyone who listens to the podcast, anyone who checks it out on YouTube. Just follow me on Twitter. DM me a question. Share the tweet that I'm going to put out about the giveaway. If your question is chosen, you are eligible. So, that's it. That's all there is to it. Join the giveaway. Now, as for the content of today, diving into 53 facts, stick around. Lombardi Time Brew starts right now. sticking around through the giveaway details. If you don't know already, my name is John Delray. I am the host of Lombardi Time Brews. Follow me on Twitter at John Delray, JONDELRAY. This, if you're watching on video, obviously is available on YouTube. But if you ever want an audio version, it's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Pocket Casts, pretty much everywhere the podcasts are available. So search Lombardi Time Brews and you can always have it with you on the go, even if you're in a place where you cannot watch video. So today we are going to be talking about 53 facts about the 53-man roster. I basically combed through the internet, all different articles from Wikipedia, NFL.com, PFF, Packers Wire, Green Bay Press Gazette, Packers News, Cheesehead TV. I went through a lot to find one fact about every single one of the Packers on the 53-man roster. And so I know this isn't going to be the most thrilling visual episode if you're watching on YouTube, but I'm going to be reading off those facts. Hopefully in here there's little nuggets, things you didn't know, little tidbits that you can be that guy when you're watching a Packer game later this year and say, did you know? Because now you know. So I'm going to be going through, these players are in numerical order by jersey number. So starting it off with the very first player is Mason Crosby, the Silver Fox Mason Crosby. Did you know that Mason Crosby hit a 58-yard field goal in Miami in 2005 when he was in college? And it was the longest ever kick in Division 1A football at sea level without a tee. Who in the hell keeps track of that? But nonetheless, it was a record. He also holds 31 school records for the University of Colorado. Moving on, next player on the list is Dallin Leavitt. Not a ton of info about this guy, hasn't been in the NFL super long, but he's an Eagle Scout. And as a fellow Eagle Scout, that's neat. Good job, Dallin Leavitt. Next up is Quay Walker, the Packers' first-round pick of this year. According to mockdraftable.com, in pure athletic metrics only, one of his closest comps is former Green Bay Packer Gabir Baja-Biamila. And I know KGB entered the NFL a little bit smaller than when he really kind of rose to prominence as a pass rusher. Still quite shocking that KGB is comped to a first-round inside linebacker, something I did not expect to find at all. Before I say this next one, I want you to keep in mind that as I was searching for all of these facts, I basically just pulled the first nugget that kind of made me go, didn't know that. Now, these are all just pure facts, without slant, without prejudice, without praise. Except for the Eagle Scout one, he deserves it. But keep in mind that these are just facts, and these facts are not representative about how I, Packers, or anyone feel about any one of these given players. It can be a cherry-picked stat, it could be just a little tidbit, whatever, but it is a fact. And I say that because this next one maybe doesn't sound the best, and I actually really like him as a player. So just keep that in mind. Amari Rodgers. He had only 5 catches on 17 contested targets in the entirety of his 3-year college career at Clemson. Didn't know that. Next up is Christian Watson. He tied for the 4th highest RAS wide receiver score ever. A few of the names just above him on the list, and we're talking his was a 9.96. Highest you can get is a 10. Period. 10. So there are 4 names that really stuck out ahead of him, at least on the good side of things. That's Calvin Johnson, Megatron, Andre Johnson, Julio Jones, Javon Walker, and Joe Webb. A great athlete does not a white wide receiver make. We know that. Christian Watson's going to break the mold. Jordan Love. Next one, Jordan Love was only a 2-star recruit going out of high school. Didn't know that. Sammy Watkins. Buffalo gave up their first, next year's first, and next year's 4th to Cleveland to move up 5 spots from 9 to spot 4 in the 2014 NFL Draft in order to pick Sammy Watkins. That 4th-round pick eventually became former Packer Ibrahim Campbell. If you remember Campbell, he was a safety for us a couple years ago. He was involved in the Sammy Watkins trade indirectly. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's so much to know about Aaron Rodgers, and most of us know most of it already. But one thing I did not know is that if you compare him as a freshman in high school to a freshman in college, freshman in high school, he was 5'3". Freshman in college, he was 6'2". The dude gained 11 inches from freshman to freshman. He also gained approximately 75 pounds. Depending on which article you read, which theory you believe, that is part of the reason that he very possibly could have been overlooked coming out of high school, that he did not get any D1 offers, is because he was still the shade on the small side. He still had one more growth spurt coming his high school senior year, and he kept on growing into the 6'2" quarterback that we know him as. But gained nearly a foot and 75 pounds throughout the course of his high school career. Allen Lazard. Last year, he set a career high in receiving yards at 513. His touchdown high was also set last year with 8. He had more than double the amount of touchdowns than he did drops last year. 8 touchdowns, 3 drops. Pat O'Donnell. You may remember when Pat O'Donnell first signed with the Packers, he lived with Mason Crosby for a time. And at the time, they put out a Step Brothers YouTube video, a parody of the Making the Beds into Bunk Beds scene. Little no tidbit, Pat O'Donnell was playing the Will Ferrell character in that clip. Randall Cobb. If you happen to Google Randall Cobb, the top question that comes up for Randall Cobb is, where did Randall Cobb go? I just found that really interesting, so I included it. Rudy Ford. I wanted to actually put a football one since he's a new guy. Rudy Ford played 423 defensive snaps last year for the Jacksonville Jaguars, 273 of which came in the slot. He posted a missed tackle rate last year of only 5.9%. Will he play defense for the Packers? Only they know at this point, but we do know he's going to be a special teams gunner. And that 5.9% missed tackle rate, if he can replicate that, will mean great things for the special teams for the Packers. Eric Stokes. You know, there was so much going on with Aaron Rodgers last year. Eric Stokes was not talked about when he was made a first-round pick. And I feel like one thing that personally I didn't know, that there was just not enough made about, is Eric Stokes' pedigree. How well he was doing in college. Eric Stokes, prior to his last year in college, was put on the preseason watch list for both the Bednarik Award and the Bronco Nagurski Trophy, both awards for the nation's best defensive player in all of college football. I never knew that, and it's something that should have been talked about. Next up, Shamar Jean-Charles. When evaluating him as a draft pick, one area scout said, and I quote, "You tell me those numbers, but they don't mean anything. I could do that against my kid's peewee team." He did go on to say, though, that it was a good value pick, so, that's nice of him. Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander's propensity for wearing unique and colorful glasses actually eventually wound him up in a sponsorship with Oakley, and he now wears an Oakley visor across his helmet. Tariq Carpenter. Immediately following the draft, Carpenter posted on his personal Twitter that he's actually a huge Packer fan and posted a picture of him wearing a Super Bowl 45 champions t-shirt. Keyshawn Nixon. He is one of 3 cornerbacks on the team that stands 5 foot 10 inches. The tallest corner on the team? Rasul at 6'2". Darnell Savage. Darnell Savage's 5th-year option was picked up, as we know. His compensation for that option is $7.9 million next year. He is the only safety from the 2019 draft to have his option picked up. A.J. Dillon. We all know about Dillon's nicknames, but did you know that he as a person only has one nickname? And that's Sauce. Quadzilla and the Quadfather are actually each of his thighs, and one nickname goes to each. He, as a whole person, just has one nickname, Sauce. Rasul Douglas. Although he seemingly comes off as a journeyman and kind of came out of nowhere, he was actually a top 100 pick and started 5 games as a rookie. He was a top 100 pick. In fact, he was picked 99 for the Philadelphia Eagles. He started 5 games every year of his career, in fact. At least 5 games, I should say. Adrian Amos. Adrian Amos is the founder of the I'm Still Here Foundation, which raises awareness about Alzheimer's disease and helps underserved youth. Aaron Jones. I actually love this one. Jones has several tattoos, but according to his personal tattoo artist, he has purposely left an area blank on his shin for when the Packers win a Super Bowl. Tipa. Tipa was not allowed to participate in the drills at the Combine because of a prior assault charge from his time at TCU. Something I never knew. Zach Tom. Zach Tom was a 3-time ACC All-Academic Team member. His dad is a math professor, and his mom works in IT. Chris Barnes. Chris Barnes became just the third undrafted free agent to record 75 tackles in his rookie season. Rashawn Gary. Bane. Rashawn Gary runs his own sports services company called RG Sports, which focuses on athletes' mental well-being. They handle contract negotiations, and they transition and succession planning for athletes in different stages of the career. This would be athletes going from college to pros to retirement, transition services. Certainly wanting to become a business mogul, as it said on his website, beyond just the football field. Jonathan Garvin. Packers former outside linebacker coach Mike Smith, he said, I want to see his birth certificate. I think he's 35. He's got an old soul. David Bakhtiari also mentioned to Mike Smith that he struggles going against Garvin's raw strength. Kingsley Enagbare. Once considered a potential first-round pick early in his college career, he slipped to the 5th round where the Packers got him this year. He lacked production in his upperclassmen seasons, and leg injuries are what is attributed to his slide down the draft. Jack Coco. In his junior year, he lost 30 pounds to transition from offensive lineman to tight end. He wound up actually having 4 catches that year as a tight end while remaining their long snapper. He did the long snapping for extra points and field goals, and in all 3 years that he did that, he did not have one errant snap. Not a single one. Isaiah McDuffie. He was a 3-time captain in high school as a 2-way player on his football team. He played both running back and linebacker. He set school records for both tackles and rushing yards. Straight up athlete. Devondre Campbell wears number 59 to honor his mother's birth year as a way to thank her for her support. Rasheed Walker. He was a round 3 projection by NFL.com, and it was projected to eventually slide into guard. We'll see if he ever makes that move. But the Packers nabbed him up in the 7th round, and he was declared right after the biggest steal of the draft. Jake Hansen. Jake Hansen has the lowest rated Packer player rating in Madden 23, with the exception of Jack Coco, the long snapper, because we all know Madden doesn't know how to rate long snappers at all. But his 59 rating is the lowest of all of the Green Bay Packers who made the 53, but he does have a lead blocking rating of 80. David Bakhtiari was a communication major in college, where during his final season, his team, not just him, but his team, gave up the 2nd most sacks in college football. Royce Newman. I ain't gonna lie, I searched for a bunch of stuff in Royce Newman. I can tell you he was a criminal defense law enforcement major in college, but that's like it. Like, I couldn't find much that was interesting at all. So sorry, I'm gonna give you 2 on Sean Ryan to make up for it. Sorry, Royce. Josh Myers. He was PFF's highest-rated offensive lineman in Week 1 of the preseason across the entire NFL, regardless of position, regardless of team, regardless of game. Highest-rated offensive lineman in Week 1. Yosh Nijman. 6'7", 314 pounds. And this, I did not know this. I knew he was an athletic freak, but I did not know this. 9.87 of a RAS score. Keep in mind, 10 is as high as you can possibly go. For an offensive tackle to have a 9.87 relative to his peers and not get drafted, it's an anomaly. We see why the Packers so urgently jumped on him as an undrafted free agent, why they've kept him around as a project, especially with the Packers front office affinity for RAS scores. Elton Jenkins. You know, funny enough, Elton Jenkins started his career at guard before transitioning to tackle. Well, last year at tackle, he actually had his best PFF score of his career. It came in at 82.1, which is bordering on Pro Bowl level. Sean Ryan. I promised 2 Sean Ryan facts to make up for Royce Newman. Here they are. He's actually comes from a line of athletes. His father was a professional motocross racer, and his grandfather a professional boxer. Also of note with Sean Ryan, he has some of the largest hands in the history of the Combine. Biggest hands ever at the Combine were 11.75 inches. Sean Ryan's came in at 11.62. Like, Dude's got mitts. John Runyon Jr. did not commit a single penalty in all of 2021 as a starting guard. None. No penalties. Josiah DeGuara. There were 3 tight ends drafted in the 3rd round of the 2020 NFL Draft. DeGuara is the only one who is still playing for the team that drafted him. Samori Toure. Didn't know this about the Packers' new wide receiver 7, but when you search the name Samori Toure, apparently he shares his name with a mid-1800s leader who resisted French colonization in West Africa. I didn't see that coming, and I learned all about it too. Whether the names are related at all, whether that was the intention from the parents when they named the Packer version of Toure, I don't know. But I know now all about French colonization in West Africa, so that was neat. Thanks, Samari. Tyler Davis. Before becoming the scorn of Packer fans everywhere, he actually posted an overall blocking grade of 70 in last year and nearly 70 blocking snaps. There was also one game last year where his total offensive grade was 89.7. It was that game against Baltimore. I think he performed better last year than a lot of Packer fans want to give him credit for, based upon the preseason that he just had. Robert Tonyan. Tonyan originally enrolled as a quarterback at Indiana State. Second year, he transferred or stayed at the school, but transferred positions to being a wide receiver. Only later did he become a tight end after college, and he signed with the Lions, where, of course, he stayed. Tyler Davis was also a high school quarterback. Just a little nugget. He also started college as a quarterback as well, so Tonyan and Tyler Davis have some similarities. Romeo, another high school quarterback. But Romeo Dobbs, he did not have to wait long to get his first touchdown in college. The very first time that he actually touched a football in a game, his very first touch, he returned a punt return 80 yards for a touchdown. Mercedes Lewis. Lewis is playing in his 17th NFL season this year, which ties the NFL record for tight ends. If he plays again next year, that record will be all his, and he has stated publicly that it is a goal of his to be the longest tenured tight end in NFL history. Jerron Reed. Jerron Reed had a career high in sacks of 11, but only 3 last year. In fact, PFF scored him at a total grade last year of 46.7. Ooh, we're definitely hoping for better things. Preston Smith. In one of the oddest statistical anomalies out there, Preston Smith, his splits between odd and even years is really astounding. In odd years, his career low for sacks is 8. That's his low. In even years, his career high is 6. Guy's been playing in the NFL long enough now for this to be a thing. Like, this isn't like a 2-year sample size. Like, this is several years. Odd years good, even years not as good. By the way, we're heading into an even year. Throwing it out there. TJ Slayton, he went to American Heritage High School, which is actually coached by former NFL cornerback Patrick Surtain. Dean Lowry. Dean Lowry posted career high in sacks, passes defended, hurries, and his PFF pass rush grade all last year. Devontae Wyatt. He was the 3rd straight Packers first-round pick that happened to be a Georgia Bulldog, defensive player specifically. Kenny Clark. And I think this is very enlightening to how they're going to play defense this year. Kenny Clark last year more than doubled his previous career high at snaps lined up over the tackle. It previously was 107. Last year, he logged 232 snaps of that variety. And Jonathan Ford. We know the Packers have an affinity for high RAS scores. We've talked about a couple of them as we went through the 53. They broke the mold with Jonathan Ford. He has a RAS score of only 3.54. So, like I said, it's a Friday. Let's get out of here. You have yourselves a wonderful weekend. If you're off on Monday, you have yourselves a beautiful long weekend for Labor Day. Like I said, I'm going to be putting a post out on Twitter regarding our giveaway. Follow me on Twitter. Retweet the post. DM me a question. If your question is picked for the mailbag, then you are eligible for the giveaway. Again, that giveaway, it's going to be a Willie Davis 8x10. Sorry for the glares on the top loader there. It's going to be a Willie Davis 8x10. It's going to be a signed LeRoy Butler card, a signed James Lofton card, and an A.J. Dillon jersey swatch card. Just a beautiful, beautiful card from Select. All of it going to one listener. So hit like on this video, subscribe, share, enter that thing on Twitter. Let's get a mailbag going, and let's build a bigger, better Packer community together, one where everyone can take part in the discussions around our beloved Green Bay Packers. So we're going to be doing lots of giveaways in the future. This is giveaway number 1, and I am so thankful that you've taken time over the last 2 weeks. This is episode number 10. We're in double digits. So thankful that you've taken some time over the last 10 episodes to spend a little bit of time with us and check out what Lombardi Time Brews is all about. So stay tuned next week. Even though it's Labor Day, I will be in on Monday. We're going to be talking about different things, and we're finally leading up to week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to do some game prep next week, talk about all the different factors and X-Factor matchups and everything like that for the Vikings game. So have an absolutely wonderful weekend. Go Pack Go. Thanks for checking us out.